Okay, I think we're ready. It is my pleasure to welcome our host for the night, Curtis Miller.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everyone. My name is Curtis Miller. I'm the field director for Northern Jersey Council, and welcome to our Cub Scout Fall Programming Resources and Best Practice Seminar. I'm anxious and glad everyone is able to participate tonight. What I want to do at this moment is take the time to introduce you to our volunteer and professional staff who put this presentation together. I would like to start by introducing our council commissioner, Walter Korlick. He's on the video tonight. Walter, if you could just put a thumbs up in your video. Very good. I also want to introduce Steve Brown, our Lenape Trail District Commissioner, who's put a thumbs up in his video. I also want to introduce John Brain, our Ramapo Valley District Commissioner. Thank you for joining us, John, tonight. I want to introduce also to Mr. Tom Chibis, our Council Vice President for Membership, who will be one of our facilitators for this evening. I also want to introduce Maritza Skitter, who is the Ramapo Valley Membership Chair for the district. Maritza, thank you for joining us this evening. And I'm also going to introduce some of our professional staff here tonight. Ms. Rosa Urania, our Director of Field Service. She's here joining us this evening. Also to Chris Clark, who's manning the controls of our tech for the evening. He is our Lenape Trail District Director. We also have some of our district executives and field staff members. Billy Cook is joining us tonight. Mr. Joe Lieberman is also in attendance as well. DeQuan Jenkins, our Lenape Trail District Executive. Olivia Bourne, our newest addition and member to our Northern New Jersey Council family and Ramapo Valley District is here as well. Jessica Fajardo, our Exploring Executive. And also Lumi Perez, who is in charge of the division. And last but not least, I got to mention our Scout Executive is here, Miss Rebecca Field. So thank you for joining us tonight as well. I'm actually going to turn it over to Steve Brown, our Lenape Trail District Commissioner, who's going to go over some housekeeping and presentation format for this evening.
Great, but before housekeeping and presentation, Chris, could you put the flag up, please? So this is a Scout meeting, and we will model the beginning of Scout meetings with a Pledge of Allegiance and Scout Oath and Scout Law. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. The Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent, too. If you were a Scout troop, we do the outdoor code, too, because that's part of advancement for Scouts BSA. Okay, Chris, we can go back to yours. Thank you. So everybody's going to be muted. If you should not be able to unmute yourself. If you do, I will mute you because we want the presentation to occur so everybody gets to hear that. We are being recorded. We are also broadcasting live. So if you do not want to be recorded, you can change your name and blank your screen out if you'd like. But we are now being recorded. And the advantage of being recorded is after this, we will put up a link both to the slides, so you don't have to take pictures of your screen or anything like that, and to the recording itself. I would ask that in the chat, you chat all. So for those of you who are not familiar with Zoom, across the bottom, you will see chat. Actually, it's just about in the center of the screen. If you could put your name, unit, number, and town in the chat, it will be the way we take attendance. Some of you have names as you signed in, others don't. But that will give us a sense as to who's here. And indeed, we may be contacting you afterwards. So please do that tonight. and we're getting set. So this was put together primarily by council staff, and the idea is to get information to den leaders. About 4/5 of scouting is outing. We would very much like to be doing this live. We'd very much like to be doing this outdoors, although it's a little dark. And encourage you as you're thinking about your den, and as you're thinking about den meetings and things, take advantage of the outdoors for your activities, for your meetings. We will be spoiled for another 2 months or so in terms of daylight, and it gets a little harder after that in the evenings. But think about outdoors, and we'll be talking about outdoors as well. All right, enough for me. I am now pleased to introduce Curtis again with some announcements for fall recruitment resources.
Sure, and thank you, Steve. I would like to introduce Tom Chivas, our Council Vice President of Membership, who's going to go over a couple of fall recruitment 2020 resources. So, Tom, take it away.
Thanks very much, Curtis. Thanks, Steve. This is going to be a terrific night. I don't want to take up too much time, but we do have some really exciting news for council resources. The marketing and professional and technical staff at the council office has been really doing a great job working on the website. So there's two areas that I would like to draw people's attention to on the website. One is that if you first go onto the website, nnjbsa.org, there's a big button there that says fall program resources. So you can check some things out there. And also on the upper tab of the upper tab bar, there's a resource drop-down menu with more resources there. So that's where you're going to be able to find this presentation. That's where you're going to be able to have some one-stop shopping for picking up from your district executive, some peer-to-peer cards. There's also some information on there about how you can set up your geofencing for this fall. If you don't know what geofencing is, please go to that resource and read about it. It's a really great tool that you can promote your event on Facebook and have a targeted recruiting event for that. And then, of course, traditional flyers. We're still doing those types of things. This fall, I do think that we're probably going to be looking at doing most of our recruiting peer-to-peer. So please encourage your scouts to invite a friend to an outdoor activity. I know in some of the Cub units that I'm involved in is that we're making it fun. For right now, we are just getting things back together. We are getting together. We're outdoors. We're social distance. We're abiding by guidelines. But everybody is together. We're having fun. And those are the perfect opportunities to invite friends to. So really try to think about inviting friends to those type of meetings. So please check out our website. There's more content coming, and I think it'll be really, really great. So I'd like to turn it back over to Curtis to talk about some upcoming events and activities.
Sure. Thank you, Tom. Chris, next slide. So just really briefly, I just wanted to touch base on a couple of upcoming council-wide events that if you were interested, you can take part in participation in. We have our 4th annual Shooting Sports Clays tournament on October 2nd. The link is here in the description if you're interested in that. We have our Cub Family Weekend happening October 3rd and 4th. At this point, we are full to capacity. So we just wanted to make that announcement. And then a little bit later on, I'll introduce our camping team who's going to go over a couple logistics and more information on our camping programs. Lenape Trail Fall Camporee is happening on October 10th. So here's the link. And we're also going to put this information in the description as well for you too. So if you are part of Lenape Trail District and you're interested in the Fall Camporee, the date is October 10th and the link is there for registration in the description. Next up, we have our Prepare for Life event on October 8th from 9 to 10. This is we're actually 12 days away from this event. This is our annual giving campaign for the North New Jersey Council. We actually have a special guest speaker, Major Barry Price, who's going to be leading us with some inspiration for that morning. So if you're interested, here's the link for that event as well. We have our Building Connections on October 8th from 4 to 5:30. This is happening in the same day as Prepare for Life event. And on that day, the last event of that day, from 7 to 8, we have our annual healthcare dinner. So we have these 3 events happening on that same day at different times. So, if you're interested and you're feeling like you want to participate in a full day of scouting on October 8th, come out and support our online virtual events that are happening with these 3. And we also have our Halloween event, on the weekend of October 24th to 25th, and a link in the description there as well. And I think that's it for upcoming events and activities within our council. Before we kick off the presentation for this evening, I would like to, at this time, introduce Michael Worth, our camping director for Northern Jersey Council. And I also want to introduce Jordan Brown, our program and marketing director for Northern Jersey Council, who wants to talk to a little bit about Cub Connect for 2021. So Mike Worth, if you can take over and take it away and just give us some updates on our camping.
Thank you very much, Curtis. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Actually, you said Camp Cub Connect, and Jordan Brown, along with Ann Murphy and 4 excellent staff members, did a great job for our Cub Scouts this past summer. We're looking forward to an in-person camp, both at Camp Lewis in 2021. We will have 3 weeks of overnight camp at Camp Lewis, and we offer a 5-night and 6 days and a 2-night, 3-day program. And that will be in the month of July. And if Jordan Brown, who has done a fantastic job not only in Cub Connect, but helping us lay the groundwork for Camp Yapo, is she unmuted?
I am now, yes. Sorry, I just can't get my video to start again.
Oh.
I am unmuted, yes. So for Day Camp 2021, we are really excited. Our theme so far we have is Jurassic Explorers, so going on a Jurassic Park kind of theme, with an emphasis on exploration and discovery, while hopefully achieving some fun advancements along the way. Like Cub Connect, our goal is to kind of facilitate advancement without the kids specifically knowing it, and making it feel like homework. Of course, we want to just make it as fun and interactive as possible, and hopefully have a fantastic summer in the outdoors. Fingers crossed.
Thank you, Jordan. And just so you know, on the council calendar, we are planning in 2021 2 Cub family weekends in May, the first weekend and the third weekend, 1 Cub family weekend in the month of June, and then we will also have an October weekend. Hey, I'm going to switch back to Curtis. Would you want to take over?
Yes, and thank you, Michael, for that camping, and Jordan for that camping update. So at this time, I want to introduce Tom Chibis, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the presentation for this evening in regards to our Cub Scout Fall programming. Tom.
Okay, thanks very much, Curtis, and great news on camp coming up, Mike and Jordan. And that's terrific that we have Cub Family Weekend sold out. That just goes to show you that the program is very strong. So tonight we're going to focus on den leaders and den leader experience and the Scout books, the Scout book. One of the things that I've always said, and this has gone back before we had the Lions program, but I always thought that the most important position in scouting was a Tiger den leader. And now I guess it's Lions. But this is where you have the person who never joined scouting and never perhaps been in scouting, and they're kind of new to all of this. And they're the ones coming up, stepping forward and taking a risk and diving right into the program. So the den in scouting, not just necessarily in Cub Scouting, but that's really critical into the development of the program, because where do Scouts and Scouts BSA come from? A lot of them come from Cub Scout packs, and Cub Scout packs, thrive on well-functioning dens. So tonight we're going to see a couple of videos on that, how to, what kind of a remedial refresher course. I know some of you may be den leaders, but just kind of like regrounding yourself on what that process should be. We've actually picked some of the best pieces out of some videos that we found. So there may be some editing artifacts along the way, but so please bear with us. Basically we're going to start with how to run a den meeting. And we'll be talking about doing some of that in the virtual environment, and please post your questions, and we'll be taking some questions and discussions as the evening rolls on. Okay, so roll video.
First, let me say thank you for deciding to become a den leader. We know how excited, anxious, and even nervous you might be. You may have decided to jump right in with both feet, or you might still be testing out this whole Cub Scout thing. No worries. Either way, we've made it really easy for you. All you need is Scout Book, and you're all set. Parents tell us all the time how much being a den leader has not only strengthened their relationship with their child, but also made them a better parent. The training is even helpful in other areas of life. Cub Scouting is designed to build character, understand citizenship to participation, experience leadership, even good personal fitness habits. There are a ton of opportunities to participate in different activities in Cub Scouting, but never lose sight of what is most important, the den meeting. The quality of the den meeting is a top priority. It's where Cub Scouts do activities that earn them awards, which we call adventures, such as citizenship, outdoor skills, and science. Earning those leads to earning a badge of rank. Each grade has a different badge of rank Cub Scouts are working toward. With me so far? Okay, good. And if you just answered no, just keep replaying what I said over and over until it all makes sense, or your smartphone or tablet dies. Through Scout Book, all the resources you need are at your fingertips. Need to plan what activities to do for den meetings? It's in Scout Book. Need to know how to do a craft or game? Instructions with photos already done. It's in Scout Book. Need to report when your den has completed an adventure? No problem. Scout Book would automatically notify other leaders and parents. Need to tell a parent what their Cub Scout missed at the meeting? Simple. Scout Book would automatically notify parents of what activities their Cub Scout missed when they don't make a meeting. Need a great baked ziti recipe for when you have company over for dinner? Yeah, sorry, you'll need a different app for that. So, by now you may be wondering, what does a den meeting look like? What do the Cub Scouts do, and what do I need to do as a den leader? Den meetings are held when, where, and how often is most convenient for you and the youth in your den. Den meetings are an hour and typically twice a month. The more frequently you meet, the quicker the Cub Scouts in your den will earn their badge of rank. There might already be a location that is confirmed for you to use, but if that doesn't work for you, change it. Keep in mind, a good location has room for crafts and activities and has access to an outside area for games. Sometimes an activity will require you to have the den meeting at a specific location, like a park or other outdoor space. For these meetings, you may find it easier to move the date and time of the den meeting. For example, it's a lot easier to go for a hike during the weekend instead of on a school night. Bottom line, make sure it's a time and location that's convenient for you. For each topic-specific adventure, there are meeting plans already developed for you, and each plan has 3 main sections: before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. Before the meeting, we'll give you an overview and theme of the adventure you will be working on, along with the requirements and desired outcomes. This section will inform you of that and will provide you with a list of materials you will need for each meeting. During the meeting, offers steps about what to do. Cub Scout-aged children thrive in structured environments. This structure keeps the meeting moving and keeps it engaging. Den meetings shouldn't be like school. It's helpful to allow Cub Scouts to play together first and help them burn off some energy right away. It also encourages the kids to arrive on time. The opening signals to the Cub Scouts that the meeting is starting and includes a simple flag ceremony with the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and Scout Law. After the opening is talk time. This is the time where you can take care of some business items. A list of topics is provided for each den meeting, and you can add to it as needed. The activities section is the actual Cub Scout program. It's the crafts, games, and hands-on learning that makes the Cub Scout program so impactful. Don't worry, you don't need to be an expert on any of that stuff. You're not gonna need to show them how to rebuild a transmission or anything like that. Everything in the program will be easy. After the activities are completed, it's time to officially end the meeting with the closing ceremony. What to do for closing is provided for you as well. After the meeting covers topics and items that will need your attention after the meeting, and we've provided a list for you. That's it. Den meetings just get easier and easier. Before you know it, you'll be able to do an entire meeting with your eyes closed. But we don't officially recommend doing that.
Yeah, so that was a great video. One of the comments I took a couple of notes there. One of the things that the video presented was it shouldn't be like school. And right now everybody is doing Zoom meetings or Google Meets or team meetings with school and so on like that. The Den meetings need to be, in my opinion, somewhat creative now. But the important thing is that to get the kids together, get the scouts together, get them meeting, mask to mask, what I call now face to face. And the weather is still warm out. You don't have to make it hard or long. Make it easy and do something on the weekends. The pack that I was involved with, we just took a hike in one of the county parks. There's a lot of great county parks, and you can check off a lot of advancement requirements like that. The other thing is that, the program is becoming really, really turnkey now, particularly with Scout Book, and it really empowers a lot of the parents to participate with that program with Scout Book and to help track the scouts' advancement and so on. So that's a really great tool. If we're not meeting face to face, you have now that contact to track things like that. And that's what the next video is going to be about. It's going to be about, taking a closer look at Scout Book and really, it's Scout Book is not just available for dens, it's available for troops and everything. And it's really a great way to keep the scouts engaged and track their own advancement and keep them moving along. So we're going to show the Den Leader experience with Scout Book coming up. Take it away.
It is Scout Book, right? It's Scout Book's Den Leader experience. It's a little long title, so we just call it the DLE for short because we love acronyms in the BSA.
Sure.
But it's officially Scout Book's Den Leader experience. It's an evolution of Scout Book.
Well, it's super cool. Tell us all about it.
So, the first question is, why create this thing, right? So we really identified what's the biggest pain point that new den leaders have. And we know that when we recruit a new den leader, especially if it's a non-legacy leader, right, that's someone who has got no scouting background whatsoever, they don't have anything to fall back on, getting their den up and started, right? I agreed to do this, now what, right? And even though we got the training modules and we've got so much support material, we may have a little too much support at times and it gets a little lost and confusing. So this literally is the easy button. So if you sat down and tried to plan your whole year for your den, right? Every meeting, what activity we're gonna do to get through all those meetings, we've asked people and they said it takes about 8 to 10 hours, right? So that's really probably more like 2 days, full days of training. If any, I don't think anyone actually did this, but we probably do have some folks that would sit down and plan their whole meeting for the year. We get that down to 5 minutes. I mean, that is the overall goal of the Den Leader experience. It is the easy button to deliver the scouting program. In addition to planning, right, there are all these other resources, right? So you had the ceremonies book and you had this handbook and you had this over here. And so all those things are literally now in the palm of your hand. Everything from the forms, the checklists, and even, we're really excited that we announced this, I think last week, that the Cub Scout songbook, that used to be this book that you bought at the Scout shop and it had these cute songs, we actually took that and we actually recorded those songs and embedded them into the Den Leader experience. So now that is a digital resource that you can have literally at the palm of your hand to help provide a fun and entertaining experience for your scouts.
So I'm not going to get this stack of books like I got when I started as a Cub Master. It was this thick, right?
It's bananas, right? It was all these. So you had to go reference.
This? Really?
So you had to reference.
Here?
It's all in your phone, right? I mean, it literally is just at the palm of your hand and at every corner that we have in the development of this. And that speaks a lot to the fact that we are constantly improving this product and looking for that user experience and feedback. So how do you get to this? Well, the Den Leader experience, as we said, is Scoutbook. So it's real simple. Now, if you are a registered Den Leader, assistant Den Leader, or have Den Leader admin rights. Now, that sounds like a lot, but the reality is, once you get in here, you're going to get access to the youth membership in this unit. You're going to get access to those things. So we have to ensure that you are a registered leader and you have permission from the organization to access that type of information for your unit. So that's why it's restricted to those roles. As a Cub Master, if you want to see what this experience looks like, you can give yourself Den Leader admin rights and do that for all your dens, and then you can go in and play with it. Or you can just use the traditional Scoutbook experience and log in Scoutbook and do any admin of the tools. Because again, this is not a separate tool. This is just a different view and an interface for Den Leaders into Scoutbook. So if you're not a Den Leader, and we heard this loud and clear, people are like, so what does this look like? And this is the sandbox experience. And Michaela mentioned that they're developing the sandbox experience for Scoutbook in general. We have one for the Den Leader experience that was developed. It's at leaderpp.scouting.org. Super easy to remember. And when you go there, we recommend that you use a private or incognito setting, because this is a sandbox. And so sometimes if it's trying to read a last visit, it won't show up. So if you use this more than once, super easy. You go in there, you select the user, top left-hand corner. It's will auto-populate the username and password for you. It's going to ask you if you're a robot, and I highly recommend that you say that you're not. And after that, it's going to ask you to identify maybe crosswalk or traffic lights, and then you're in. So now let's see what it looks like when we get in. Off right away, you can just see how clean and elegant and how fun and vibrant this application is. So the first time a Den Leader accesses this, they're going to need to do what we call set up their den. Kind of behind the scenes, we call this the big boom. What we do is we ask 4 simple questions, pretty much: where do you meet? How often do you meet? When's your first meeting? And from those questions, you push set up den, and boom, in 2 seconds, all the required adventures for your rank are now put into a calendar form, and all the resources you need for each meeting is now custom made for you. Now, from the home screen, the great thing is that if you need to change something around, because we don't know when birthdays are or when the holiday breaks are for your school system, and chances are if you're going to do an outdoor activity like hiking, you probably aren't going to do that on the weekday when you weeknight that you typically meet with your den. Probably going to do it on a Friday or a Saturday. So it's super easy to go in there and just move your tile around, and you can move the topic between meetings. Your pack events show up automatically. So all your pack meeting stuff is right there as well. So if there's a conflict there, you can see that right away. So we'll download it in 2 minutes. The 5 minutes is probably what it's going to take you to go in there and just kind of fine tune your calendar. If you need to move your meeting date, time, or location for any of the meetings, super easy to do in edit mode. So that is our calendar mode, and that's kind of like the most important thing. Now, when you're ready to set up and you're ready to prepare for your first meeting, right? You're on the left-hand side of that screen. That's kind of the home screen that you'll see. You just click on the bottom because it tells you that's the next meeting. And you click on that, and the next thing that will appear is the actual meeting, which is our next slide. And this is where you actually, as a Den Leader, in the palm of your hand, all you need to prepare for your first meeting and any of your meetings throughout the whole year. So there's a before, during, and after part of it, and it's super easy to be able to go and prepare for each part of this. So we're going to take a look at what that might look like. So in there, we're going to go one more slide. Your meeting's going to look like this. It's going to tell you step by step. And in this example, this is during the meeting. So the gathering for this meeting is to play the Disc Targets game. So we spell that out for you. We walk you through how do you play that game. And then we have support videos. And this is going to be the star and the rising star in this, right? We are in constant production of new content, and we're excited to announce that we've got, several local councils that are actually developing more content for us to be able to put into the Den Leader experience to help support not only traditional Den meetings in person, but also virtual Den meetings and support that way as well. So in this example, we have a video of how to conduct a flag ceremony. Super easy. It's not a 5-minute video. It's not in 90 seconds. We break it down real simple of this is what we're talking about when we talk about flag ceremony. And then there's other resources that might be available as well. So you might have to download a roster or a poster, or it might send you directly to a resource, a web resource as well. So those are the support materials that the Den Leader has literally at the palm of their hand for each meeting. Now the next thing is, this is what's
Curtis?
So at this time, I'm going to introduce Maritza Skitter, our Ramapo Valley Membership Chair, and Stephen Brown back on. If you have any questions so far, please type it in the chat, and I'm going to invite Maritza and Stephen to answer any questions you have thus far. We are going to, after we answer a couple of questions here, continue the video, and then we'll have another segment where we answer some questions. But we want to take this time out if anybody had any questions that we will answer. So Maritza and Stephen.
So there are some questions in the chat. I actually just sent a link. So the Scout Book is available. The Scout Book Den Leader app, the Marista should be out like any day now is the expectation.
It should be out any day now. There is the beta version. We are using it within my unit. Right now, I actually do have it on my phone right now. I love it. It's fantastic. It has made it so much easier for me as a Den Leader to plan my meetings. My favorite part of it actually is the sync it to my calendar aspect of it. I don't know about you, but even with COVID and everything, I still have a full calendar of so many places to be at the same time. So being able to sync it with my calendar, it's a lifesaver. And it's just made everything so much easier. You can download it now and the app will appear on your phone so that you can have it, and then it'll come out of beta very soon.
Do you know in the beta version, there were some issues with the calendar being pre-populated and unable to be changed?
Nope, they got rid of that. They did fix that. I actually was working on it last night, adding in some things into my unit, and I was definitely able to change things around very easily without an issue. So they worked out those little bugs.
Great. And as we're waiting for that, National put up a bunch of videos, has a great resources page for Den Leaders, and I put a link to that in the chat. A lot of the content that is on that will be on the app or is on the app now is also on this website, and you can get that via mainframe as well.
Yes, and to answer Robert Quinn, Robert, there is a beta for Android. I don't know about Apple. I don't have an Apple. I have an Android device, so I don't know. I think Chris Clark, if I'm not mistaken, did have it for his Apple though. And Jennifer Harper, there is a separate app for Scout parents for them to have access to it. But that's a completely separate app that they have access to. Also, as a Den Leader, you only have access to your den that you are registered for. So I am, for instance, the registered Tiger Den Leader and the assistant Den Leader for the Arrow of Light Den. I can only see those two dens on the app. I cannot see any other den in my unit, even though I am the Cub Master. So I can't see anyone else at all because I am not registered with those dens.
Right. So if you are a Den Leader and perhaps not registered, That's something to check with your Cub Master or committee chair to make sure you're registered. Sometime as the Scout book has been rolling out, or people are finding out they may not be registered, or they were registered as a tiger den leader and never got promoted to a wolf den leader, or other registration issues. So that can be worked out. The Scout book app is a great app, and it's available to parents. Again, this is not the den meeting den leader app. This is the Scout book app, and it tracks the adventures, and you can actually track your Cub Scout and his or her advancement. I'm going to skip Jennifer's question on challenges with the pack, and we've been doing a lot of that. Let's get it back into that at the end, because packs have been experiencing some challenges with leadership, especially leadership, as we're all interacting with each other electronically.
Tom, as for who assigns the scouts to the den, I know within my unit, we have a scout book webmaster
coordinator,
basically, within my in my unit, because it is such a time-consuming project at times, especially in my unit. We have over 80 scouts. It can be a little daunting to set it up sometimes. So we have someone whose sole task is, as soon as a new scout is in our unit, they go in, they assign the scout to whichever den they're supposed to be in, and then that will populate in our app saying, hey, you have a new scout. And once they are on my den roster, I have access to their parents' name, phone number, email, and things like that, which once they're in a wolf den and older is fantastic in case, heaven forbid, something happens to them while they're at a den meeting. You're not sitting there rifling through papers going, what's your parents' info? How can I get in touch with them? All you have to do is open up the app, you get their phone number right away, and you're calling, hey, Joe, can you get here right away? You have to come pick up your kid. So it's great.
Good. And Scout Book is available to units as well, and it's free. And your Cub Master, your committee chair, and chartered organization rep have access to the administrative side of this, and they can designate up to one other person to be the or one other login to be that resource. So many units will find the computer savvy parent who will get involved and be able to assign all of that, track advancement, things like that. I don't see any further questions at this point, so maybe we will move on to our second video.
Tom?
And Tom will give you a quick introduction.
Well, so this is just we're gonna continue with this video with some more as it goes along, and we'll be picking up for some more open-ended questions at the end. Okay.
Kind of cool. Our ultimate goal, like the objective, aside from wow, we just reduced all this training, all this prep time for den leaders, and we can really get a jump start on den meetings, is the next slide. With this, we eliminate advancement reports.
No, Anthony, really?
I know we all love advancement reports, and some people love them so much that they still want people to turn them in. It's
so
still not. If you are using
staff.
Right,
love advancement reports.
Oh yeah, right, and scout shops, right? Scout shops, it seems like they love these advancement reports because they want you to fill them out all the time.
Where is my 3-part carbon form? Oh, please. Oh.
The absolute magic of this application is that behind the scenes, when you're done running your meeting and the meeting date has passed, the button for your meeting will appear and it'll say, take attendance and record. And when you push that button, a roster appears. You mark off the kids that were there or who weren't there. And we, behind the scenes, already have aligned the requirements that are associated with that meeting and automatically fill those kids' advancements in Scout Book, which is the official record of any Scout's achievement is Scout Book. It automatically gets populated. So den leaders don't have to track advancement anymore. If you need to fine tune an advancement report, you can do that through the traditional Scout Book experience. But right here, it is the easy button. In addition to this, we talked about connecting parents with Scouts, and Michaela did a great job talking about that in Scout Book and the Scouting app. Well, this is really important because there's some really cool stuff in the den leader experience that happens when parents are connected with their Cub Scout. And the first thing that happens, one of the cool things is if you miss a meeting, the email goes to the parent and says, hey, sorry you couldn't make the meeting. We wish you were there. We were working on this at this den meeting. You can find this requirement in your child's handbook on page 105. You can do this at home. And when you've completed this, all you gotta do is push this button. And when you push that button, it then updates the child's record that they have now completed it, because in Cub Scouting, parents can sign off on their child's advancement.
Okay, Anthony. All right, Anthony, you gotta hold it right there because the Q&A is blowing up. Everyone's kind of freaking out. They're like, what do you mean parents can sign off on the advancement? So walk us through this again one more time.
So the standard for Cub Scouting has always been for Lion through Bear that parents can sign off on their child's advancement, right? The one thing that we had was in Weeblos for 4th and 5th graders that the den leader did have to approve those advancements. During the current pandemic, we did send out and we have made a forgiveness policy, if you will, for that. So all the way through Cub Scouting, parents can sign off on their child's advancement, and we're okay with that, right? This is do your best, and I don't think there's anyone out there who can tell better than what a child's best is than their parent, right? So that's our standard of measurement in Cub Scouting. It's not like Scouts BSA where there's a standard that or performance measurement that needs to be met. Hope I addressed that. And then the other cool thing is when a Cub Scout finishes, when the den has finished the rank advancement or an adventure, a congratulatory email goes to the parents. And it says, hey, congratulations, your child did a thing, right? And this is what this thing was. And more importantly, we actually got with subject matter experts to talk about why these activities were important to your child's growth and development. And that really helps make this connecting tissue for parents, especially non-legacy parents, to understand that Cub Scouting isn't just fun and games. It truly is a game with a purpose. And so now we're helping combine that. So then Chloe, when she has a bad meeting, because we all have bad days, Chloe might have a bad meeting and go to mom and say, I don't want to go again. We need mom to know that this program is doing more than just a play date, that this is truly helping her child to grow and develop. And this is one way that we can help address that. And then lastly, I'll just reiterate the importance of connecting parents using the Scouting app. The Scouting app, as Michaela said, is a native app. So what we showed you, the den leader experience and Scout Book, those are web applications. The Scouting app is an actual application download. And this is only for parents, right? So if you don't have a child in the program, the Scouting app is not for you. This is really a parent's window into Scout Book. This is Scout Book. Again, this is just, not 3 different products we're talking about. This is all different windows and evolutions of the same product. And then I'll also talk about support on this. I don't have a slide for it, but we do have a ton of support all on help.scoutbook.com. Same place you would find the support for the Scout Book material. And then also we have a YouTube channel on the BSA Communications YouTube channel. You can find hack videos for the den leader experience. And a hack video is like on average 15 seconds. And it does star the fabulous Michaela Munson. And so If you just want to know, how do I add a parent to my den? All you need to do is watch that one little video segment. So we made them little snackable content. So you don't have to go through a 30-minute training to learn how to do the one thing that you're stuck on. And that's it. I mean, I hope that's enough. I mean, we're working on more stuff every day.
Okay, so this is getting us kind of where we were in some of the other questions. Yeah, Scout Book is the database, is what's behind everything. Units can enter Scout Book, the Cub Master, committee chair, and designated person can enter a Scout Book, do advancement work. The den leaders will have access to the den leader portions of Scout Book, and parents will use the Scouting app to access Scout Book and access their advancement. So units who are not using Scout Book, and it may even be the majority, this is something to start looking into now, get your best tech people together. And when we did this in a troop, it was find the tech people, let's start looking at this. How can we use it? How can we use it best? How can we promote it to the parents and to the Cubs and to the Scouts? With the boys to the Scouts BSA level, the boys can use that, and girls can use that as well. So this is the parent entry into, as the video said, the advancement part. So parents can do the sign-offs on the advancement. Parents, I think it's great that when the den leader is signing off on an activity, or when the unit is signing off on an activity, that the parents are notified of the completion, and then more details on it as well, because the program is about character, citizenship, leadership, and personal fitness. So Robert, I don't have access to the app. Maybe Marissa can jump in. I don't know that this app is allowing socially distant filters at this point in time.
So unfortunately, it does not have a filter at this point in time. I know what we did in my unit, for instance, was that over the summer we sat down and we went through every single activity and we tweaked it. We just found a way to make it work. A lot of things can be really changed to fit the current circumstances, and it can be done. We just thought outside the box, sometimes a little bit further outside the box than we normally would have, and it can be done. There are a few things that were a little bit harder. There were a few things that we moved to the end of the year, like I said. But no, to answer your question in general, there is no filter within the app right now that will let you filter out the activities, unfortunately. But who knows? Like they said in the last video we just watched, they are working on things all the time. So if Scouts UK is doing it, hopefully that's something they're working on for our app too.
And Marissa, again, this is not the Den Leader app should be out there. Richard's having trouble finding it in the App Store.
It's not there. If you look up, I did link the, if you go up a little bit, I did put in the link for it. You just type that in, and actually Billy just put it out there right now too. You type that in, you type in all of that, and then you put in your information. It'll send you the link for it to download, and then it'll come up onto your phone and you'll be all set to go. It's not in the App Store just yet.
Yes, but if you want to go to the beta version, like Marissa, has, you can go to scoutbook.com on your phone and log in with your my.gun.org credentials, and then it'll ask you to install it, to your phone.
Yeah, Chris and I actually redid it at the office today. It was nice and easy. And then it took me 5 seconds to link up to my calendar. And it, like the video says, it literally is 5 minutes to set everything up. And it took me 5 minutes to set up the whole scout year. It was fantastic.
Hey, Steve, Marissa, I'd like to make one, and there's a lot of discussion on this on the chat about socially distant activities and waivers and so on. I'm not going to certainly comment about what waivers need or should be obtained or what legal ramifications are. There's better people to answer those questions than me, but regarding socially distant activities, for BSA, for the national policy, this is a very large country, and maybe Curtis can, or somebody can expand upon this. I've asked this question many times, and a lot of people have asked it as me, is that the policy that the Boy Scouts of America has taken is that you should abide by your state and local guidelines, including your chartered organization. So just because there's some restriction that is or some activity that may be allowed by the state or the community, if your chartered organization is restricting that activity, you really need to at least start with them, figure out what's acceptable for them, and then go up from there. There may be activities that are perfectly fine in some parts of the country that are not applicable here in New Jersey. It could be the other way around. So I believe that sort of encapsulates why there isn't like a national policy for this, because I believe the position of the Boy Scouts of America, and I could be wrong, I don't want to state something that's out of turn here, but Curtis, if you could expand on that, is that you really need to abide by state and local guidelines along with your COR or your charter partner.
Hey, Tom, that is correct. And also, too, if you look on our website, we have the restart checklist in response to, the proper format and guidelines to kickstart and restart your unit. We have that information on our website as well. So that is correct.
And that link is in the chat. I want to address Jennifer's question. I know we're starting to close in on time because it's a new update as of the end of August. The question is on what happens if a den got behind in advancement. Perhaps den wasn't meeting, or they didn't have the opportunity to complete adventures. So I will read this kind of directly from the COVID-19 FAQs. Again, the link is there in the chat room. Cub Scouts may continue to work on their current den's advancement. Now, this is a change from actually earlier in the summer, and a change to normal Cub advancement policy. Once the year is ended, the den stops working on their advancement. But during the pandemic period, it is at the discretion of the den leader to decide the best course of action for how long to extend continuation of advancement. Certainly don't want to do it forever, but it goes on. We want to ensure the pandemic does not create an obstacle to youth advancement. The Cub Scout families continue to have a positive experience, and that the standard continues to be do your best. And then the lawyers are involved, so the National will continue to monitor the situation and communicate when this temporary measure expires and a return to the standard rules for age and grade level advancement for Cubs. So Jennifer, if you want to continue working on Weeblos, or your den wants to continue working, go for it. If they are ready to move on to Hour of Light requirements, that is acceptable too. It is your call until further notice. Okay. Are there any other questions? I'll get back quickly, and again, I know we're on time. The challenges of finding leaders, the challenges of leaders who, whether the technology or the work challenges or family challenges, have pulled them out of being active in the spring. Part of why we're doing this, and we have 3 more webinars that we will be hosting, stealing some material from the National Council. We're trying to make it as easy as possible to bring those den leaders back or to recruit new den leaders. And that's the idea behind the Den Leader app on Scoutbook. That's the idea behind the information that is out there for Den Leaders on the national website. Again, we posted the link. We want to make it new Den Leaders as we're recruiting. Think about a recruiting night, and some schools are having it, some are virtual. Some recruiting is being done at activities. Bring potential new Cubs to this activity that's being held outdoors, or this meeting. But the idea is, this is scary. I don't know anything about scouting. I don't know anything about being Den Leaders. I use the example, I teach adults for a reason, not first, second, third, fourth graders. But if you know nothing, there were written resources back in the days of the dinosaurs for Den Leaders, but now there are good online resources, and people throughout the country have been testing the app for Den Leaders, and they've been fixing the problems, they've been tweaking, and again, hopefully coming out pretty quickly with the idea. That's why we're having this webinar, to introduce it. But the idea is, you can take someone who doesn't have this experience, that introduces them. The last thing, because you can't put a microphone in front of me and have me stop, there's good training online. The same place that we all had to take youth protection training and have to take it every 2 years, there is Den Leader training. Den Leaders can be trained. There's Cub Scout training, general Cub Scout training. There's committee training on the Cub Scout side. If you have that opportunity because you have time, or perhaps you're on a webinar that you're not paying much attention to, then you could take some of that training. One of the reasons we introduced the Den Leader video today is because that's good stuff. And some of us have been doing this for a while, or have not done it before. Some of us doing it for a while need the reminder. People who haven't done it before, this makes their life a lot easier. So that's why those resources are out there. If you talk to your professionals, talk to your commissioners, if we can help connect you with some of these resources. Again, most of them are online. We sent you links, but that's what we want to do for you as well. I believe Den Leader books are still available. And they're still in print. So that's not an issue. The Cub advancement books, at all the different levels, are still in print. In fact, they've undergone new printing because we've moved to these adventures in the last 3 years or so. So both of those resources are still out there. And again, look at you can link to some of this, but search online, Cub Scout Den Leader resources. You'll get the official resources, and they're good. I didn't necessarily say that 10 years ago. They're good. So take advantage of that. The other is, you will find links to lots of people who are doing this, who have put this up on their own websites, on their PAC websites. You'll find ideas on Facebook. So there are lots of resources out there. Kind of be creative with looking for some of them. And you can do the same with parents. You can send parents to all of these things. Think about the tiger model or the lion model, where the theory was a different parent ran the meeting every other meeting. You can still do that. The Den Leader is still responsible, but Den Leaders can certainly continue some of that tradition, so you're not doing this on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Okay, Curtis, I think we're coming back to, I'm sorry, Tom, for other program resources at your fingertips.
Yeah, I just noticed there's one more question real quick, and it involved, again, an insurance consideration and inviting people to an activity or an event or something like that. And that's something that's actually encouraged. There actually is a requirement. I believe it's a tenderfoot requirement to invite a scout to a meeting and so on. So I don't want to speak to insurance matters. You know, that's a matter for professionals.
Tom,
to answer.
I think I could speak to that. I got some information from our scout executive when the question came up.
Okay.
And that would be with regard to waivers, they're really not needed. As long as you follow the BSA Guide to Safe Scouting, your state and local guidelines, and whatever policies that your charter partners have put in place, then you should be fine.
Yeah, well, there's two questions, one about waivers and one about just insurance coverage when you invite a non-scout to a meeting or an activity, you know, to a den meeting, you know, to see, because, you know, we have those events all the time. We have joining nights. It's a scout meeting, but then people come in to see if they want to join scouting. So, but again, I don't want to comment on insurance coverage. That's just out of my wheelhouse. But I do know that that's common. But so if you know we could get a firm answer on that would be great. Maybe after the fact. But just because we are running short on time here, resources, all of these, the slideshow, the resources that you saw being stepped through here as we worked through our presentation here, will be available with quick links from our new membership resource page on our website, and part of that will also appear on the fall program resources as well. So check out those two resources for things like this. Gives you all the information you need here for your for the den leader experience, and many other things. And like Steve was saying, you know, this program has been around for a lot of years, and there are so many resources out there. Sometimes I think it's a little bit difficult because you get a lot of information overload. So we're trying to streamline this a little bit better. Scout book, I think it's really great if you have a small unit and a large unit, because I have a small unit and it's really easy to set it up because I don't have too many people. You know, setting it up for a large unit, but once you get that over the hump, as Marissa said, when a new scout comes in, boom, it's really quick and easy just to do that. And Marissa has, you know, she's a trailblazer on a lot of this stuff, and she's a great resource. So you people in RV are very lucky to have her. We're lucky to have her on the membership committee. And, you know, that's why I ask her the questions all the time, because she always has the answers.
Happy to help.
Is there any more resources to show? So, yeah, so I'd like to turn it over to our intrepid council commissioner.
Actually, I will jump in from the Guide to Safe Scouting, and I will put the.
Yep. Steve, you muted yourself.
See, I don't want those people jumping in, or maybe someone muted me. From the Guide to Safe Scouting, and I will post that list, post that link in a minute. Scouts and guests who are being encouraged to become registered scouts and volunteers are automatically insured while in attendance at a scheduled activity. Other guests are not covered. So I'll give you that link.
There you go.
That's why they brought me along. I'm the one who can do searches online.
Yeah, that by the way, the Guide to Safe Scouting really answers a lot of questions like that. Mm-hmm. That's a great tip, Steve. So Walter, you want to talk about anything else? We'll talk about some
I do
Facebook information.
Just a very, very quick resource for you. You see up on your screen, there's a link there to NNJC, Scouting from Home, Idea Exchange, and Facebook group. This is an opportunity for you to post the wonderful things that you're doing in your packs and your dens, and to ask questions of other scouters, not just in Northern New Jersey, although it started as a brainchild of one of our commissioners, but it seems like we're getting information and requests from people from all over the country. So if you get a chance, please click on that link, post your suggestions and ideas, and ask any questions you may have. Then before we close this out, I just want to thank you all for being here this evening, and remind you that there are a couple of other council-wide roundtable sessions coming up in this series on Thursday, October 22nd, Thursday, November 18th. You will all get this information ahead of time, so you don't have to jot it down now. And there will be a national webinar, Back to Scouting, Cub Scout meetings during COVID-19 on Wednesday, September 30th at 8 p.m. in just a couple of days. And check your email for a registration link to get to that. Again, I want to thank all of you for being with us here this evening and participating. I hope you learned something. I know I did. I want to thank all of our council professionals and our volunteers that helped put this together. I was on early before the meeting started, and I was surprised to see that there were more than 20, 22, 23 people from council and volunteers that were working behind the scenes to put this together for you. And one of the important takeaways for you is, I know Tom said earlier that he thought the Tiger Cub leader was the most important job in scouting. And now the Lion, I can't disagree with him, but all Cub Scouting positions are terribly important. They really are. You're really making a difference in the lives of our young people and helping them to develop into all that they can be. And I really want to thank you for that. And remember that you're not alone. There are plenty of people out there to help you, your district professionals, your commissioners, and all you have to do is make a phone call to any of these people. Would be happy to help you. One last thing, I know for those of us that have been around in scouting for a while, some of us say it's all about the patches, and patches are very important to a lot of scouters that have been around for a while. I wear patches on my uniform, and one I want to show to you, and this would be very important, I think, for your Cub Scouts, is we have a program called I Did My Part, and that comes about during COVID-19. And all you have to do to earn one of these patches is to fill out the paperwork. There's a small cost involved. You can buy both patches or individually. They're available for your Cub Scouts, leaders, parents, friends, anybody that helps. And it's very simple. All your kids have to do is just anything during COVID to try to help out and do their part. You could be checking on an elderly neighbor, doing some handwritten cards to a nursing home, anything at all. It's very simple, and it all makes a difference. The paperwork for that, the forms are online. Submit those in and be happy to get you the patches.
But Walter, it's 5 hours of service?
5 hours in total, but you know, we do want you to make sure that you register the time, put it in and put it online, but you can quickly amount that. I'm sure most of the units have probably done it already. Okay, that's about all that I have. I thank you again. Curtis, are you closing us out?
Thank you, Walter, and thank you everyone for your participation this evening. We will have our next series in October, and we're looking forward to having a good presentation for you in October. Everyone be safe and be well. Thank you for participating tonight.